It's interesting that Bayern obviously should win the league. They're doing the double. But Niko Kovac may still not have a job at the start of next season.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any more brutal, really. You are in your first season in the Bundesliga. You are likely to win the league. You're likely to win a double. And you still might get the axe. And that is not because the results are not in line with expectations, but the performances and the feedback from the dressing room. Ever since really October, November, a lot of players behind doors, but even talking to other people in the club, have been complaining about the lack of input when it comes to solutions, to attacking ideas, to creative patterns. They feel that Kovac is too focused on defensive application, on fitness, and they sort of wonder whether they could be playing better individually and collectively under a more dynamic, a bit more attractive coach. And that has filtered through to the club bosses. And after the pretty disappointing, certainly at home, performance against Liverpool in the Champions League, there is, at least on one part of the board, a strong appetite for a big change, even if they were to win the double.
Wow. Well, we talked earlier in the show about Allegri, of course, leaving Juventus. Is he amongst the names that are now being linked to the job if Kovac goes?
I think it would be inevitable that his name would come up. In the past, Bayern have looked at Maurizio Pochettino. Allegri has never been available before. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who is very firmly in the anti-Kovac camp, has, of course, a big Italian background. I think would love to appoint another Italian coach. Uli Hoeneß perhaps less keen on him, the Bayern president. There's also the likes of Mark van Bommel in the mix, maybe even Ralf Rangnick could go from Leipzig to Bayern. So the options are there. And I think it always was the reason that Kovac was there, because no other solutions, no other alternatives were available last summer. He might not stay because some alternatives are available this summer.
Well, meanwhile, when it comes to players, Bayern are going to have to do something, aren't they, over the summer? We know Robben's going, Ribéry as well. There's been speculation that they could be in for Leroy Sane.
Well, initially I was ready to dismiss this story, but then I talked to a colleague of mine and another contact in Munich last night, and the suggestion was that Bayern are interested to bring in another high-profile winger. And I think it's fair to say that they're exploring the possibility of making this happen. Now, this is subject to so many variables. You know, will City actually decide they want to get rid of him? Will they, even if they do, then agree a price with Bayern? I mean, there can't be many more highly valued, young, attacking, wide players out there. But the interest from Bayern, as far as I understand, is indeed real, and they will try to make it happen. Whether they will depends a lot on what Pep Guardiola has to say.
If you were Sane, boys, would you want to go?
I don't know that I would want to go, but the problem is it feels, from the outside looking in, that there's a disconnect between Leroy Sane and Pep Guardiola. Now, I don't know that this is specific to Pep Guardiola, because then there's the history of Leroy Sane and Jogi Löw. And so if I'm Leroy Sane, I first have to take a good look in the mirror and say, look, maybe there is some growing up that I have to do, some maturing that I have to do, and then I can make a decision based upon that. But if you're just essentially basing your decision on the fact that Pep Guardiola is not going to play you just because you're Leroy Sane, that you have to earn your spot on the team, and then once you earn it, you have to be able to keep it because of performance, because of attitude, because of productivity, and you don't think you're capable of doing that under Guardiola simply because you feel like he's just picking on you, then, yeah, it feels like going somewhere else may just be the answer for you.
I think he has to go.
Really?
Well, I mean, Leroy Sane's been there long enough now that he shouldn't still be potential. He's got all the ability in the world. And clearly, Guardiola doesn't think he's ready for it. And I think Leroy Sane will have had enough. And he knows if he goes to Bayern, he will be playing. Because he's not going to get any better than he is now if he doesn't play. And this guy could be absolutely devastating. But he has to learn the game. And you don't learn the game by sitting on the bench forever and watching what's going on in the field.
But I think part of the reason that he's sitting on the bench is because there is a personality thing here. There has to be. Because it's not about the talent. We can all see the talent, and we see that when he steps out on the field that Manchester City becomes an even more dangerous team than they are. But certainly there's got to be a disconnect there, and the personality that doesn't quite match, and it hasn't matched with Jogi Löw or Pep Guardiola.
For more, sign up now for ESPN+.